In 1969, hundreds of volunteers descended on this loch to restore this amazing basin. I'm on the Montgomery Canal and we're in the town of Welshpool. This is obviously a canal in water, but this is a canal that's not connected. Now this section of canal here has a really fascinating story which I wanted to come and tell today, and one of real volunteer group-led action which saved this canal. But let's have a little look around first. So we have here a small marina, and this tells you a lot about this canal. So although this is not connected anywhere on the network, there are plans for it to be fairly soon, hopefully. I reckon there's a good chance it could be within the next 5 years. Between 5 and 10 years, I'd say, is a very likely thing to happen. Now this is a 12-mile section which is in water, and then we have a section behind this which is between Llanfeare and the end of here, which is having work done at the moment. You've got Llanfeare where it's in water, and then you've got 2 miles then to Crickheath where it's connected to the network, and that goes all the way back to the junction on the Llangollen Canal. And the idea is this could very soon see boats, but this story started back in 1969. The Beatles were releasing Abbey Road, the Rolling Stones were touring the United States with, I think it was Tina Turner, and it was probably a whiff in the air being the end of the swinging 60s. And Welshpool needed a bypass, and this old abandoned canal was the perfect place for it. But a group was formed and they said no, they didn't want it. There were plans afoot for several routes, and they contacted the Shropshire Union Canal Society, who had recently been formed and were working on other areas, and asked them to get involved. Behind us here we have an old light railway here. Let's just pop up and have a quick look at that. There's a Welshpool and Llanfair light railway around here. I'm not too sure if this was connected at one point, but it offers some great views down onto the canal. So you've got the aqueduct, which we just got to the edge of here, with a waterfall taking this stream down through, which is really pretty. And then on the other side here, you have the basin again that we've just come from. This is really busy. I've been struggling to film up here, if I'm honest, because there's so many people walking across it. So it's lovely that this old route has become such a busy walkway. Not only would the bypass have killed the canal, it'd have also split the town in half. So we're walking now into the town centre, and that's a horrible thing to do to a town. You see it loads in America and stuff, where they have the highways running through cities and you just have deserted land either side of them because there's no connectivity in the city anymore. So on the 18th and 19th of October in 1969, they managed to organise a group here. They got permission by British Waterways, as it was at the time, now CRT, to drop the water level in here so they could do some work. And they were expecting about 100 volunteers, but on the day about 200 turned up. They had angling groups in on a Saturday to remove all the fish, and then they commenced work. And they managed to dig all of this out. A lot of it was done by hand, quite literally. There wasn't enough machinery to go around, there wasn't even enough tools to go around. The Shropshire Union Canal Society had basically paid for everything to make this go ahead, and it left them quite skint for some time. Got this fantastic old wharf over here as well, look. Still has the overhang on there, which would have kept the boats dry when they were loading and unloading goods. And this goes into the lock up here, which was part of the dig. It cost the Canal Society about £500, which in 1969 was a significant amount of money. And I'm going to read this off my phone because it's quite a list. They had 3 pumps, a mobile crane, 3 diggers, a loading shovel, 10 dumpers, 4 tipper trucks, and a long reach excavator. So the Bypass Action Committee also helped, and they managed to get accommodation for the volunteers with locals around here, which obviously saved a lot of money for those coming. A lot of those volunteers brought their own hand tools. Look at this is fantastic. I imagine that side there was an old loading wharf. There were buildings across here in earlier plans, and then the lock here is fully restored now. The town council had refused use of the tip to take the spoil, so a local landowner, Mr. W. Davies, offered use of his land, and Buttington contractors offered a lot of the equipment. I have to add as well, in 1969, Swindon Town beat Arsenal 3-1 in the League Cup final. Don Rogers scoring 2 goals in extra time. A little bit of history there for you. Come on, you Reds! There were about 700 fish removed from here by the angling club, and it's a good sign that there's always been a strong support by sort of canal trusts into not just restoring the heritage and all the history down here, but to preserving nature. It's definitely more on the agenda nowadays, but it always was there. They were trying to save things. As always with canals, you had tramways along the sides, which was used to move goods, and you can see them just here, running right up to the edge of the towpath and going into an area over there, which was the yard. I expect these linked up with the light railway that was further down, and these would have been used to move goods down. This was really bustling in its day, and the railways all came to here as well. And there's also an interesting story about the railway. Now, the bypass didn't happen for a long time. When it eventually did happen, it had to go to the other side of the town, and the railway station was in the way. So they moved the railway across, put in the bypass, and you can still see the station running alongside the main road to this day. So a lot of players were involved in this, including the Peak Forest Canal Society. You had the London Counties Work Party Group, which a year later became the WRG groups, who were part of the Inland Waterways Association, as I often say in these videos, and the locals as well. They couldn't believe just how many people had come down here to help on this project. They come all the way from across the country to get their hands dirty, and lots of people came and stood by the sides of the canal. Many were encouraged to join in, and others were encouraged to get out of the way, really, because it became a hazard that so many people had come down to watch it. And this led to a lot more stuff happening in the future years. And in subsequent years, British Waterways allowed the group to carry on and do other stuff like clearing trees and getting other areas into water. So it was the start of the Montgomery Canal Restoration. On the Sunday, the canal was refilled, and the mayor and mayoress of the town were put in a boat that had been brought down from Market Drayton. It was a trailable boat. They're much lighter, brought in, and they were toured down the canal, which was fantastic. They had a cruise. Let's pop over to that station now and have a quick look. So this is the old station forecourt here, look, and as we come around this corner, you've got the wonderful station building. It's an absolutely beautiful station, look at it. And this was abandoned then. So in May 1992, they had to build a station on the other side. Well, it's finished by May 1992, and they opened the rail realignment in 1993. And this left this section gone so they could build the road, which is the bypass around here. So the light railway did run from here. Sorry, it's going to get a bit noisy now because I'm by the road. It ran up across that bridge, and there was a goods yard just here as well. I think it went under this road and then to a goods yard. And then there's the Welshpool and Llanfair light railway a bit further up. I'm just walking around here on the edge of the road here just so we can get a better view of the platforms. And here we go. How cool is this? So the old platform remains with the main road to the side there. There's going to be a lot of vehicle traffic noise, I'm afraid. It's got the old awning and the pillars and all sorts there. That is very, very cool. So the alignment was moved then across, and you can see the railway runs within that fence over there, look. So it was only moved slightly, but it meant this station was no longer usable. So from quite a cool spot, not canal I know, have a great day.